All right. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Colorado Films, the podcast. I am joined today by Tom McCartney. He has been teaching at Air Academy High School in the Springs, located in District 20, for 4 years now. He teaches English, but also that he is the head of the film program there. The Air Academy Film Festival is in its fourth year, and it showcases films written, filmed, directed, edited, and started by students. It's happening next weekend. This year's lineup features one film, The Last Try, that won Best Overall at ThesCon, and also Halloweenies, which I've seen, and it's a great movie that has earned 6 nominations at the upcoming Kick-Ass Film Festival here in May. The Air Academy Film Program, which was featured in the Gazette last December, is aiming to be one of the premier high school film programs in the state. It brings a holistic approach to teaching film with a focus on, in front, and behind the camera, education coupled with teaching their students to be well-rounded, empathetic human beings. Tom, thank you for joining the show.
Thank you. I appreciate having me on.
Yeah, and I appreciate you reaching out to me. Like I said, it's hard being kind of a one-man show and doing this and talking to as many people as I can. So when someone's like, do you want to talk to me? I'm definitely going to take you up on that offer. But you're down at the Air Academy in the Springs, and you took what originally was a film literature class and turned it into a full film program. What was your vision when you started that transition?
To be honest, I was presented with, it was my first year there, and I was presented with 2 options to teach an elective. So there was mythology, which I love, and I'm a mythology buff. And then there was film as lit, film as literature. And it was presented to me as a class where your standard film as literature class, maybe on a collegiate level, you watch movies, you analyze them, and you analyze them for, theme and plot, and just really breaking down the genres and writing a lot of papers. Yeah. So as a person who's taken those classes, yes, they are interesting. But I also knew that I was teaching 14 to 18-year-olds who already take enough classes with a lot of writing, primarily, and this is an elective. So being the film buff I am, and having such a passion for film, that I said, let me tweak this just a little bit to where we're still teaching the same type of ideals and the same type of analysis, but it's more of a hands-on approach. Okay. So we kind of moved in a lot more of the, let's figure out how the genre looks by reading about the genre, learning about the genre and what makes that genre what it is. So for for a horror, it might be something akin to, what are the core tenets of horror? So you might have for every movie, you have to have a protagonist that's in mortal danger, and they can't just be in danger of death. They have to be in danger of things worse than death. You have to have an enemy that can't be reasoned with, which is different from the genre of action films where you can reason with them.
Okay.
And just showing that build of, this is what the genre is. And now that you know what it is, and now that you've read literature that has to do with the genre, let's go make a movie in that genre. Nice. So that's kind of the idea behind it.
Okay. And how has it evolved since, you first arrived? So you first got there and you put on the first film festival, and now we're in year 4. So yes. How has that evolved? What are some of the, what were something that you thought was a lot easier than you expected? And then on the other end, what do you think was a lot harder developing this and developing the program than you expected?
Well, I started out year 1 with a film class, and then which is film is lit, and then I had kids who wanted to do it more extensively after school. They were starting to feel the buzz and really get into it. At first, you had a lot of kids that are like, well, I signed up for the class. I heard it was just going to be a cake class. We just watch the movies, write some papers, and now you have me making movies. I wasn't expecting that. So there was a little bit of resistance at first, but then once they got into it, there were quite a few kids that are like, I kind of like doing this. I didn't know I liked doing it, but I really enjoy the process of writing the scripts, bonding with my friends and classmates, really planning it out. And I've never been a person to do anything halfway. So now it's, oh, we actually have equipment. It might not be great. We started out with iPhones, but I had iPhones on rigs, with microphones. And it wasn't just a bunch of kids running around with that, and I'm showing them their settings and how to, film it this way, and trying to rig up boom mics and all of these type of things and getting real costuming. So they really got into it. So they wanted to do it after school. So we made a film club, and it only was about 8 people. And then some of the kids started getting busy with other things, so it almost fell apart. And then I had a student come in my last day when I was really thinking about letting it go and say, hey, I heard you have this film thing. Can I jump in? And then from there, it restarted again. Because I didn't think it was going to make it out of that first semester. From there, I had kids that were in my film classes that wanted to retake it, and they couldn't because it was only this one tiny little class for an elective. So I really tried to fight for expanding the course selection. It just so happens that our superintendent was behind this idea of career academies, where a lot like college, you had almost a major. Yeah. And one of them, we kind of we had the fine arts. Okay. So in that realm of fine arts, we added movies, film into it. So I was able to then parlay that into classes of different levels. So now we're up to our 3rd level, going into our 4th level classes this year.
Okay. And could you walk us through those, I guess, 4 levels now? I said 3, but. Okay.
So I'll try to, because I don't want to get into technical jargon and all of this.
Oh, no, but, please. I mean, it helps me learn. It helps our audience learn as well.
Well, let's say our film is lit class, again, because it's an elective, but it's actually an English elective. It's our 1st level, and where it's a crossover English and film. And I almost look at it like a sampler platter for kids who don't even know if they like film or are just dabbling in it. And again, we get to film the different genres. I get to show them the very basics of filmmaking. So we just start with, how do you write a script? What does a movie look like? What should it have in it? If you wanted to, kick it up a notch, how would that look on a slightly more professional level? How do you speak with each other, cast and crew, so that you can relay ideas? Those type of things, just to get the foundation of it. And then we get into performance and communications, which is our level 2. This is where I start to teach the kids, this is how you write a script for Hollywood. This is how, this is the structure of it. These are the things you need in it. These are the items that you need to put into a script and be cognizant of, so that your crew, your costumers, your cinematographers understand your vision. So this is when I teach them storyboarding. And I don't allow them to create a movie in that class unless they have their script and their storyboard completed.
Okay.
This is where I teach them how to do the basics of auditioning, so that they can get the people that they want for their characters. But I also teach them, do not write for your friends, write for the character, and then find a person to be that character. So it's those little differences that move them from I'm just making a movie with my friends to I'm making an actual movie.
Okay.
And then
That's
we get
cool.
yeah.
And
So
so,
go ahead.
sorry, do you get that a lot? Do you get a lot like, I've got my friend and I want him or her to be the main character of this movie, and you know, it's their dad. They want to be the main character, and he's supposed to be playing like a 13-year-old girl. Like,
Right.
it doesn't make sense. You can't
Right.
do that.
So one of the biggest transitions I have to make with the student is, one, try not to write a self-insert movie of something that is very you specific and very, I'm really writing myself into this movie.
Yeah.
And I try to get them to understand, take a kernel of your life, take that piece that is the most important thing that you really want to talk about, what you want the audience to go on a trip and understand that is uniquely you, and then take that and build around it. So now, okay, we have a character that might be going through a breakup. All right, instead of it being a 15-year-old brunette girl that lives in Colorado, what if it was a 17-year-old boy that lives in New York?
Okay.
And maybe it's not even in 2026, it might be in 1986. So it's those, what if this person isn't a chipper person like you are? Maybe they are a little bit more melancholy. So it's adding these pieces to that sliver of your life story that you want them to, you want the audience to journey with you on. And so that pulls them away from that self-insert to making a character that isn't them, that they can, but people still can relate to.
Okay.
So once you do that with the whole cast, now you can start to cast out, audition for students that fit the role instead of this is me and my friends.
Okay. And this is level 2.
This is level 2. Yes.
Okay.
And then we get to level 3, which is, okay, now how do you run a set? So now we're bringing in, with my level 2, I teach with another teacher, April Mullenix, who is the head of the cinematography and editing. And I work with her on that because I do a lot of the, I'm more primarily focused on the actors and the writers and the directing. So we work in tandem as now a whole production company for the level 2. So now she's teaching her electronics media and her cinematography, to where now we have these wonderful cinematographers and editors and boom mic operators, which take what we have to another level.
All right.
And so in this 3rd level class, we're teaching both of our kids how to work together as a group and how to share their visions to where it makes sense. So now when we do the storyboarding, we have the cinematographers there in the process saying, okay, well, this is what we can do. This is how I can do it. I'm not sure if I can make this shot. Hey, have you thought about this kind of lens? It's those type of meetings that we have. And then they go out as a group and they are on set filming and with their entire crew and the actors on their own, with more of a guiding hand from me and Miss Mullenix.
Okay.
And we've thrown in for that level 3, we also have our theater tech teacher, who now is doing the costuming and building the sets and doing Foley and those type of things. So her class is now involved. So now we have this three-headed monster, essentially, that is as professional as we could possibly make it from high school. And I think, the results kind of speak for themselves of what that should look like. So it's developed from just a simple class to now I feel like we have a production company in a high school.
Nice. And you said you got equipment, so you got 8mm, 16 and 32, so you run the gamut? Or
we try our best to run the gamut. Now we only have so much money because we are a school,
which is you know.
but we're using a lot of Sonys and Canons in
Okay.
our stock. So, and we're using a lot of shotgun microphones and lapel mics, and we have all of our special effects makeup, and it's as about a professional as you can get for, like I said, a high school.
Yeah.
Hopefully, if we continue on the way we are, that'll get even bigger. I'm trying to buy rigs now to add to the stock. So I'm always looking out for new tech and new equipment to add to it to make it that much better.
Nice. And one thing that stands out is how collaborative the program is. Like you said, you've got the three-headed Cerberus with the ties on. How do you build that team environment? It's there. I guess I haven't been in high school in 30 years or something. So, is it still clicky? I guess. I don't know.
Well, we are dealing with teenagers now. High school is a little bit different to where it doesn't look like the Breakfast Club. Okay. To where you have these defined roles, and you have the jock, and you have the princess, and the nerd and all that. Now your jock is watching anime, and your princess is also a jock. Yeah. Your nerd is probably, oddly enough, one of the coolest people in the group. They just are really smart. So there's this blend, and now our cliques are much more relational.
Okay.
So now it's more built around interests and identity.
Okay.
So it's still cliquey in a small aspect. It's a small C clique. And what we try to do is, again, just really launch them into this movie making process together. And I am irritating, I know, to some of the kids how fervent I am about shoving just different people together and saying, hey, have you met so-and-so? I think you guys have this in common. Let's do this. And hey, I'm gonna put you guys in a movie on purpose, whether they don't know it, but I'm gonna put you into this movie on purpose, because I know once you start, you'll really enjoy each other's company. And so with years of that, they've become this giant family where sometimes it can be a little dysfunctional. Naturally,
family.
You might not get along with your brothers and sisters and whatnot all the time, but they will band together against anything, and they will help each other out when somebody goes down or is having problems outside of the club, outside of school, just life problems. They will rally around this person, and this is across the board. So they don't leave each other out, and our alumni still come back and have talks with the kids and are heavily involved. And it's just this one giant big family of kids that honestly, outside of this, they would have never talked to each other. And it really is like the end of the Breakfast Club if it was in real life and a happy ending, and it's stuck. So it's not, hey, we're going to go back to our cliques on Monday. It's okay, no, we're still friends. I mean, even at this moment, half the club is at one of the kids' birthday parties. Like right now. So, yeah.
And so obviously that is an important skill in and of itself, is, getting along with people and knowing people from many different backgrounds. What are some of the most important skills that you want the kids to take from this class, be it technical or be it those actual life skills of what we just talked about?
There was a professor of mine in college when I was learning how to be a teacher, right? Okay. And shout out to Dr. Fairman. And he said to me, when you're trying to teach teachers, you can teach content to them, but you can't teach disposition.
Okay.
Meaning a teacher might know all of the skills and all of the information of their subject matter, but that doesn't mean they can teach. That takes a disposition, that takes a certain attitude and outlook to what you're doing that is almost innate. It
Okay.
can be taught, but it has to be something that is you surround the person with and inundate them with until that's just who they are. So for me, teaching them the skills is secondary. So
Yeah.
yes, do they learn how to use cameras? Absolutely. Do they learn how to use boom mics? Yes. Do they learn how to write a script? Yes. Do they learn how to run a set and direct? Absolutely. But they learn how to be good humans first and foremost, and that's
Okay.
my biggest thing. And I kind of use this to create that environment. Okay, we're going to take this skill, but along with this skill, I'm going to teach you how to relate to people that aren't like you, or that have different temperaments or different outlooks or different agendas, and learn how to communicate and get along with them so that this set runs. Because you can have all the skills in the world, but if you're a jerk, nobody's going to work with you. And just like I do, there's always rumor mills around sets about who's the diva, who's hard to work with, so I try to get that out of them as quickly as possible.
Okay.
And then once we get that grounded, then this is what the skill is. Let's find out what you're good at. Let's find out what you're passionate about. And let's put those two things together, so that you want to continue to learn that skill. And I have a lot of kids who I might teach them one thing, but then they'll go home and teach themselves something else to be better at that thing, and then come back and then teach the other people how to be better at that thing.
Okay.
So
That's, yeah, man, I wish I had a program like this. We had the old school film class when I was, in high school, where you just developed your film, went in the dark room. I thought that was so much fun. If we did this, I don't know, maybe I'd have an actual camera and doing it. I had to develop the software to develop the website to do it this way, but it's a fun thing. So that's such an amazing thing you're doing, Tom. And I just, I remember from the Kick-Ass Film Festival, seeing all the kids there and how psyched they were for their movie. And it's a great movie again, Halloweeny. It's a great movie.
Thank you.
So this is the 4th annual film festival. You've talked how the program has grown over the years, but how has the film festival specifically grown?
Through a lot of hard work and a loss of sanity, but it's grown tremendously. From my first year, we made 3 movies.
Okay.
And it was an in-house, hey, I went to the principal and said, hey, can I just borrow about 30 minutes of the school's time in the auditorium to show what we've done? Because the kids were very proud of what they had done that year.
Yeah.
And we had done a rom-com. We had done the first, what we found out later was going to be the first of a horror trilogy. And we had done another horror movie, if I remember correctly. Something Backrooms related.
Okay.
And they really just wanted to show it off to their peers. And I really wanted to show it off because I was very proud of what they had done.
Yeah.
And so we had a half an hour, and I remember like it was yesterday, we did half an hour, and part of the sound didn't work exactly like we wanted it to. So there were a couple of things that had dropped out of the movie. You could still see kind of like a little bit of the iPhone shaky cam. We didn't have a actual boom mic yet, so the sound quality wasn't that great. But their peers were impressed that they had put this together. They're like, "Oh my God, this is like, you really are making movies in there." And that is when the class kind of exploded a little bit.
Okay.
And from then we said, okay, well, they know we do this now. So year 2, let's make a more professional looking movie. So, but now we still don't have a budget. So we're like rigging up things to to make it work. We're using like a Yeti microphone on a stick for a boom mic. And
Hey,
I'm buying things, but just not fast enough. So I'm sinking money into it of my own
yeah,
to because I'm seeing that this is really going somewhere and that the kids are enjoying themselves. So I'm taking my own money and putting it in to buy
yeah,
equipment. I'm just not getting everything as fast as I want to. It was getting a little bit better. And then the third year was that's when we really made our statement, where
okay,
now we're getting into our own and really trying to figure this out. So now we have the third movie of our horror trilogy, and it's 45 minutes, and we're using actual filming cameras, and we're still using the weird bow mic, but that was a different story. And we're on set, and now these kids are saying, hey, we're making actual schedules for costuming and for practice, and we're filming from we're getting to school at 5 a.m. on a Saturday when it's 12 degrees out so that we can film this forest scene from then till 3 in the afternoon. And there's 13, 14 people on set trying to get this done because they really want to do this. We're expanding and we're filming scenes at the Colorado Springs courthouse and Rampart swimming pool, and it's just now it's becoming a thing for real. Like we're really making a movie, and we're making dramas, documentaries, horror, rom-coms, just expanding our palette as much as possible. And this was where I feel like our real film festival started.
okay,
We're inviting people in to come see it. Like people who are running actual film programs and things like that. So this is when the kids are like, this is a thing for me, and they're now sticking to it. And I have these kids that are now saying, film is what I want to do when I leave here and go to college.
nice.
Mhm.
And you said, you have a lot of different genres in there.
Mhm.
What are the favorite films for the kids? And have you been trying to lead them down other paths, or are they just hog wild on all of them?
Okay, so, and this started with my Film is Lit, because what I usually do, I only have so much time during one semester. So first day on the board, hey, let's vote on what genres you really want to look at and really want to make a movie. So horror is always number one with a bullet. Then some kind of crime noir is the next one.
Okay.
So they really learn, like, this is when they start to get into like historical costuming and all of the lighting and the techniques and how to use shadow and balance it against the light and those type of things. How to accurately portray the language that was used in the 40s, those type of things.
Okay.
So once that hits, then it's usually a coming of age drama, because they are teenagers, and they ingest a lot of coming of age drama, and they also ingest a lot of horror. So from there, I would probably say rom-com is a fan favorite also.
Okay.
And I've been trying to stretch them to other genres, and we've been doing a little bit better with that. So like this year at the film festival, we have an experimental movie. We have a pure drama. So it's getting there. We have some
Nice.
thrillers.
Yeah, I mean, with Halloweenies, I wouldn't say it was really a horror movie.
No,
I think it was a comedy. Like, I think it was a great comedy.
Well, to say it was serendipitous is an understatement. It was definitely a happy accident, because we entered, and this is our first year into entering the Kick-Ass Film Festival.
Okay.
I had one of my alumni reach out to me and say, hey, I'm entering this festival. Are you entering? And I hadn't even heard of it before. And so I said, yeah, I'll ask the crew. So we had our normal Monday meetings. I posed the question, and all of them were like, yes, we want to do this. We haven't done a 72-hour film contest ever, and we really want to test our mettle against what they consider real film companies, which they are. But I always tell the kids, you are one too.
Yeah.
But trying to tell a teenager, hey, you can run with, adults in this industry was a hard sell before this contest.
Okay.
And I always told them I would put you against anyone. And because I believe that you guys have the talent. And so this was my way of showing them, or allowing them to see it for themselves, that they can do this, that they had the chops.
Yeah, and that I agree. I think they can. I think they did. And you said you wanted your program to be the premier film program in high school in Colorado. What does that vision look like long term?
What that vision looks like long term is having a steady stream of students who feel like I have an inkling that I want to do this, or I want to be in the industry in some form or fashion. So you have actors who felt like the only way that they could possibly be an actor in a film or a TV show or some kind of production with a camera was to act in a play.
Okay.
That's the pipeline. Let's go to theater, and we go from theater to, once we get to college, then I'll star in a film.
Okay.
And I want those kids to know that you can start earlier, and you can start polishing your techniques now. And the same for the kids who are behind the camera. Okay, editing, your cinematography, your vision of how you see the world. I have a lot of kids who talk about Wes Anderson, and they start to pattern what they do off of that. And I always say, you can stand on the shoulders of giants, but I want to see what you can do. So what is your vision? And I don't care how weird you might think it is, or how avant-garde, that might be the next wave. Go for it.
Yeah.
So for me, it's all of those kids who have an inkling to be on camera. Let's go do this now. And we have a steady stream of those. Then having passionate teachers who really care about the students in what they will do as a future job, and getting them those skills, but also caring about them as a person.
Yeah.
Because again, they remember some of what we teach, but they always remember how you made them feel.
Yeah.
So for me, it's having those teachers that this kid relates to and listens to and feels like they can get some mentorship from. And then from there, expanding business-wise and purpose-wise to, now we're linking with other film production houses around the state, and using the beauty of Colorado as a backdrop, because we have such a beautiful state that, yes, California is great. And California's, now that I look at movies, a lot of times, if I don't see the foliage, it's hard to distinguish between the two sometimes. So I'm thinking, hey, you can come here and film the same thing. Yeah. So yes, you can film. They film in Vancouver, and say it's California. You can film in Colorado and do the same thing. So I want to pull those people here, and I'm so happy that Sundance is coming.
Yeah.
To kind of put that on the map. So I want these kids to start going out and working with actual filmmakers in the industry, and getting that on-set experience that you can't get anywhere else. And then having those people understand that we almost have a farm system. Hey, if you want students that can be in the business and that are eager and are great people and listen and want to learn and don't have egos and all of these type of things, come to Air Academy High School.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get us out there as far and wide as possible so that people see how great of a group of kids we have,
Nice.
and really let our teachers shine and our school shine of, hey, we offer these things.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, like I said, I had it in my high school. Speaking of which, what advice would you give to another high school trying to build something similar?
Start small. One, don't run out and buy a bunch of equipment and um, try to be super ambitious. Let me preface that. Be ambitious, but be measured in where you are at the moment. Always have a goal and a dream and a plan, but know where you are. And that starts with, before you get the equipment, get the people. Don't just stick any teacher and say, hey, you like cameras, maybe you can teach it. No, it's, do you live and breathe this stuff? Are you willing to put in massive amounts of time that you're not getting paid for, to
Which is
see where
sad.
it goes? Huh?
Which is sad, Teachers should be getting paid more, but
Honestly, for me, it's a passion.
yeah.
Until recently, I paid to do this and
Okay.
not the other way around. But I think once my dividends are the kids.
Yeah.
That's my investment. And the pay is for another conversation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I really put my heart into this and put a lot of hours. I mean, shoot, after I get done with this interview, I'm editing 2 movies that are going to be in the festival that need to be done.
No.
So I'll be up the next 2 nights. Now, I don't recommend that for most people. I just happen to be slightly insane when it comes to that. And my kids know that I really love what I do. But again, have people who are passionate, find the kids who are passionate, really put feelers out there and find that kid that seems to not be engaged in school. They don't know why they're there. They're just there. They don't really talk to a lot of people. They don't feel like they belong. You'll see them in the back of the class doodling instead of like taking the doodle from their hand, and saying, well, you need to focus. Okay, yes, you do need to focus. But how about we pause this? This is really good. This looks wonderful. We can do something with this at another time. Let's focus on your school. And if you're doing this for your school, we're going to make sure we have this extracurricular that you might actually be passionate about. And then let's introduce you to these other kids that are passionate about it also. Oh, now you have a friend group. And when you didn't have one, now you have a reason to come to school. Now you want to be here.
Yeah.
Now you have a vision for maybe what you want to do outside of school. Now you want to actually succeed in school. Now you've graduated. Now you have a major that was something other than what your parents wanted you to do, but something you really want to do. So that's kind of the progression that I kind of go with. Nice. And if another school can duplicate that, they'll be on the right track, because it's always student and student centric.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you have any plans of entering the films into other film festivals? You said you did the Kick-Ass. We have a lot coming up in Colorado, nationwide as well.
I will say that doing the Kick-Ass Film Festival has given the kids the bug to now want to enter every contest. So now it's, hey, let's find the ones that best suit our strengths, and we'll go with that. We definitely are having talks of entering the 48-hour contests. I think in Denver, it was. And we have kind of a list of ones that we're looking at now to figure out what best suits what the kids want to do, because it's really up to them.
Yep.
I'm just kind of like the, mysterious benefactor in the back somewhere that's just making it happen, but it's what they want to do. So whatever they want to do, I'll support. But we're definitely going to do the 48-hour, and there's a few more that we've looked at and are solidifying if we're going to make those plans.
Sweet. And after this year's film festival, what's the next program? What do you think? Is there going to be? Are you going to try to expand past the high school, or do you want to look at always in the high school, or something like we saw with Kick-Ass at the Icon? Is it,
honestly, primarily at this juncture, because I have a 5-year plan, and right now we're in year 4 or 5.
Okay.
But at this juncture, it's almost like a love letter to the parents and the community who backed us up in this. So I have it centered in the auditorium of the high school. So that's always a mainstay at the moment. I would love to expand to where, I don't know, we're at an IMAX, or I'm very ambitious. So I'm always thinking of this next crazy goal that seems unattainable and then going for it. So I would love to be at an IMAX, and especially since the kids were able to see Halloweenies on the big screen.
Yeah,
they are now, that's all they want, because they finally got to see what it looks like to make a movie and then have people, an audience of people, watch it and enjoy it. So that's their new benchmark now.
Nice.
And so that's part of the plan, also to just really start. We're working on our YouTube channel to really start getting those movies that we've done out there and have like a good archive of the things we've done so far, and just show our progression from where we were to where we're going. Nice. And just really to have fun with it. Honestly, just that's the main thing, is just have fun. Nice. So that's always the first goal, is, are we having fun? If we're not having fun, what are we doing this for? Nice.
Quick plug of the YouTube channel.
So we're still working on the nomenclature, but it should be Air Academy High School. I want to say media, because it's not just us, but it's our news casting and just a different bunch, a collective of what we do as just one hub to show that our high school is awesome, and we just have a lot of programs. So I'll have that part, which is film, on that channel.
Okay, and is that up now? Can people go?
It's up, but we're retooling some of it to add that part. So after the film festival ends, and in this summer, you'll start to see those go out. Right now, we just started our Instagram. We have our stuff up on the school web page and that kind of thing. So,
yeah, I saw the school webpage and some of the articles.
So it's slow rollout, but we're getting there.
Yeah, you've got your plate full already, and then with the social media aspect on top of the filmmaking, that's a heavy lift.
But I have a lot of support, so we're definitely going to get there.
Nice. Is there anything we haven't covered, Tom, that you'd like to talk about?
Well, again, we have the film festival. It's on base. So there's a security aspect where you have to kind of, if you go to our hub, you can get tickets, and then you can sign up to get base passes. It's going to be a blast, honestly, because again, we're featuring 13 films of all different genres. Again, we have our Halloweenies, so that's 6-time nominated for the Kick-Ass Film Festival. We also have One Last Try that won Best Overall of ThesCon. So, and we just have really talented kids and a really talented staff that is supporting the kids to make them great. Yeah, that's about it, honestly.
All right. Well, Tom, thank you very much for joining me today on the podcast. I look forward to coming next week and watching the film, and hopefully we can watch it, get it out to all the people to see, because they are, like I said, very good films.
Thank you very much. And I cannot wait to see you there, and let me know what you think.
I will. And again, thank you very much for reaching out.
Thank you for having me.